Under this beautiful Indonesian lake lies a terrible hidden secret. What you see here as just another lake is in fact the crater of a massive hidden supervolcano. In the realm of volcano calamities, Indonesia is a familiar player. Yet the unsettling events unfolding in Lake Toba have become a focus of global concern. Experts caution that the brewing cataclysm beneath these waters might not just upend Indonesia, but could send shockwaves around the globe. Earlier this year, the supervolcano cracked open after thousands of years of inactivity. The last time it erupted, it sprung one of the deadliest natural calamities in history. This time, however, the impact of its next eruption is predicted to be far, far more catastrophic. And it's possible you might not be safe from its impact no matter how far you are located. This isn't an exaggeration, but a heart-sinking truth, because Indonesia is a country both blessed and cursed by its geography. A large portion of the country is located directly above the Pacific Ring of Fire, a seismically active zone where tectonic plates collide. A total of 4 tectonic plates converge on each other at this location, resulting in highly intense geological activity. Therefore, it is unsurprising that the country served as a hotspot of volcanic activity before the Roman Empire. Indonesia has the greatest number of active volcanoes of any country, with at least 76 of them having erupted more than 1,000 times in recorded history. Most of the country's volcanoes lie on the western edge of its border, so-called the Sunda Arc. Here, the subduction of the Indian Ocean plate under the Asian plate leads to the production of magma and hot gases, which attempt to find an outlet to the surface, leading to the creation of volcanoes. But let me ask, dear viewers, what happens when the magma cannot find an easy outlet to the surface? Then it simply accumulates, growing to a massive volume and building up pressure until finally the crust ruptures, and all that magma and hot gases burst out. As you might expect, such eruptions are rare, but they tend to be incredibly destructive once they do occur. What is currently happening underneath Lake Toba is an example of this phenomenon. Deep beneath Lake Toba lies some 50,000 cubic kilometers of molten magma, slowly piling up and putting pressure on the surface, until it eventually bursts out. By volume, it makes it the largest volcano currently in existence, even larger than the one in Yellowstone, which was featured erupting in the Hollywood movie 2012. The last time the Toba supervolcano erupted was 74,000 years ago. The sheer amount of ash and sulfur released into the upper atmosphere was more than enough to plunge the world into a volcanic winter lasting over 1,000 years. In some places, temperatures decreased as low as 15 degrees Celsius, 59 degrees Fahrenheit, leading to the extinction of many animal species. Some geologists theorize that the Lake Toba eruption left a devastating impact on human genetic diversity, even to this day. You see, genetic diversity refers to the variety of genetic characteristics within a species. It's what makes each unique and helps ensure the survival of a population. But when a population goes through a major disaster like the one we're talking about, it can result in what scientists call a population bottleneck. Scientists estimate it was the largest known eruption in the last 25 million years. And let me remind you once more, it could well happen again in our lifetime. And if it happens, the scale of such an eruption would be so unnerving that its comparison would easily surpass the Tsar Bomba, the most powerful weapon ever produced. It had the explosive yield of 50 megatons of TNT, or equal to 3,800 times the power of Little Boy, which was dropped on Japan during World War II. Now, this may sound like a powerful weapon, but you would need 600 Tsar Bomba to match the power of the Tambora eruption, often termed the largest eruption in recorded history. An explosion so massive it blew up almost half of the mountain with it and led to tsunamis up to 37 meters high. It ranked 7 on the Volcanic Explosivity Index, releasing energy equal to 30,000 megatons of TNT. And this eruption is considered insignificant compared to the latest Toba eruption. Although there is no precise estimate, many scientists believe it has released energy equal to several 100,000 megatons of TNT. Considering the energy was 240,000 tons worth of TNT then, this would put it as 8 times more powerful than the Tambora eruption, or equal to the dropping of 4,800 Tsar Bombas. Though it is unclear how strong the next eruption would be, if we are to go by history, each successive eruption of this volcano has been far bigger than the last. So how would events play out if the Toba supervolcano was to erupt in the present day? Following the initial explosion, some 6,000 cubic kilometers of ash and pyroclastic flow would burst out from the surface, or equal to the volume of 2.5 Mount Everests. Within a few hours, hot magma and ash could come to engulf about 20,000 square kilometers of the surroundings, equal in size to the country of Belgium. Everyone located within this vicinity would find it too late to run and would be reduced to ashes. However, they would be the lucky ones, as the events that would transpire next would make anyone wish for a quick, merciful death. The explosion would be so loud that it could be heard from as far as China. Within a few days, large parts of Sumatra would be under ash, molten lava, and engulfed in flames. Hundreds of thousands or even millions would be killed off. Millions more would die in the coming days in Indonesia and neighboring countries from suffocation and diseases, as massive amounts of ashfall affect the lungs, poisoning the waters, and disrupt transport and essential services. Weeks into the tragedy, governments worldwide would declare a state of emergency and make efforts to reduce the impact of the fallout. However, ultimately, all of this could be in vain, as the scale of the tragedy begins to overwhelm state resources. Within a month or so, the world would look as if it is in the end times, with almost the entirety of it covered in grey darkness. Worldwide flights would be disrupted or halted due to the heavy amount of ashfall in the atmosphere. In areas with the highest ash concentrations, it would be dangerous to even remain outside for a long time without special breathing masks. We know just how much ash and volcanic material there would be in the atmosphere, which can be interpreted from geological records of the last time it erupted. Places as far as India have ash layers within their soil up to 6 inches thick. This is higher than what many active volcanoes can spew out within their locality. A year into the catastrophe, with little or no sunlight and global temperatures plummeting, it would lead to massive crop failures. Furthermore, falling ash would render many areas unsuitable for agriculture. There would be mass die-off of livestock from hunger and from being exposed to ashfall. Food would become progressively scarce until famine sets in, even in the wealthiest of places. Many nations would collapse into anarchy as the desperate masses fight over the little food that remains. There would be a mass movement of refugees, but they would find no place to escape, as no Earth region would be unaffected. Those who are powerful and wealthy may withdraw into their offshore or underground bunkers, but they would be mistaken to believe that they would remain safe. This crisis would stay far longer than just a few years. All that stockpiled supplies in their bunkers would only end up making them prime targets for desperate but heavily armed groups, eager to find food, shelter, and medicine. Over a century, most of humanity would have died off. Cities turned into ash-encased ruins, and most of our legacy forgotten. As the dust settles, we would be looking at a world that might more closely resemble a scene from a dystopian science fiction movie than the vibrant, bustling Earth we know today. The world would enter another ice age, and scattered pockets of people, now reduced to a more primitive state, would try to wring out a living in this brave new world. This speculative scenario we've played out is a sobering reminder of just how insignificant we are against the raw power of nature. The 12,000 or so hominid ancestors that have characterized the birth of human civilization occupy only an insignificant fleeting moment in the grand history of this planet. We have so far been lucky not to have suffered such great calamities, but the danger of such an event happening is always present, and despite our technical progress so far, there is little we can do in the face of nature's fury. Perhaps we are here momentarily,